the last thing I'm going to say is only sign to a label from a point of leverage. Like, I think why Jerai's dealings with UME have been somewhat successful from what we can observe is because she signed relatively soon after Akisioni was a hit, and she had leverage over that. Now, if you sign to a label where it genuinely seems like they're giving you more value than you're giving them, then you're fucked.
That's almost always a bad idea.
Then you're fucked. Then you're really fucked, because like then that opens up the door for them to take advantage of you, like in so many different ways.
Body's like a map. Katakona yoni carve. Katakona yoni nyash. Body like math. Chora saba yoni art. Ona tena bathma. Na anguka na madam nimbeng nimrasta. Puff to your puff mimseti kishada. Double she's a trouble girl. She makes me bankrupt. Kwanza akitan she makes me stammer. She said she want more than. Anytime I be your soldier. I like my girl a little older. Kwela nezani hold down.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the 30% podcast, episode 173. Brought to you by. My name is Sam. I'm here with Afam, and we are the 30% Pod Boys. We talk about the music industry, the Kenyan music industry on here, and just like go through some of the things that happen, some of the music, all of that. And it's also from our perspective, so don't come for us. And yeah, ready to get into it. Afam, what's going on?
Yo. A fine African mind like myself can't complain about life. So I'm doing fine, man. How about yourself, bro? What's popping?
It is sunny and not much else is happening, apart from just regular life stuff. But yeah, and music. Nothing else. Honestly, I didn't do anything. I have not been outside in years. I said I was going to change that, then I ended up not changing it. Although I do blame it on the rain. Once the rain started coming out, it's difficult to want to be outside and love being outside when it's raining. So that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
And to be honest, like they had said, like we were supposed to expect like some rain. I think it was supposed to be like Thursday, Friday, but I think it ended up happening on Saturday.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, so... Yeah, like that whole weekend, I didn't even feel like being out because I was just like paranoid about like floods and
getting
everything.
caught out with no umbrella again.
Man. But yo, man, what's for breakfast?
Is this an emoji to something I don't?
No, it's the platform that I was graciously invited to. So this is what I did with my week. So Apondi, she's a DJ. She's also a photographer and just a culture creator, I suppose. She invited me to a platform. It was at Studio Can V. This was my first time going to Studio Can V, which we've talked about on the podcast before.
Shout out to Jesse.
Exactly. And man, it was dope. Got to be in there and see all the equipment they have. And they have a good thing going. They have a good thing going over there in Corner Trust. So I was just on there like talking about my project that's, oh my God, it's a year now. And it's crazy. Time flies, man. I feel like if I was home for an extended period of time, at the time when I released this project, I would have done all these type of things. But
so now you're having to do them retroactively. Did you reach out, or is she the one who reached out to you saying that she wanted you on the... Like she was just messing. She liked the project and she just wanted to talk to you about it.
She reached out to me and she was like, "Yo, I want to do my first like what's for breakfast like episode." I mean, I've known her like we've known each other since like the SoundCloud days because she knew my music since back then. So she's always been supportive and I've always been supportive of her as well. Yeah, I mean, it was almost, so we played music, and then there was like a little bit of like a podcast thing going where it was like a radio show, really. Actually, it's essentially was like a radio show.
Is that like her format of the show? Like that's what she...
I think so, yeah. Okay. It really is, yeah. So we just played a bunch of like stuff and then just talked. Shouted out the podcast, of course. Okay.
If you're here from there, welcome.
I hope. Actually, that would be so interesting. If there's anybody who listened to that and then
welcome to the party,
is listening to the pod. Yeah, welcome. Well, aside from that, this week.
Wait. Sorry. Wait. Before you continue, because this is just interesting. Do you have like other things planned in terms of doing like post rollouts? Because I've been seeing a lot about post rollouts everywhere and how important that is to music. Like, do you have other things planned in terms of post rollouts, or for you is it like you're a little bit far removed from? And do you think it actually matters at this point, removed from dropping a project a while ago?
This is a whole conversation, because post rollouts, it's come to be that post rollouts are actually even more important than pre rollouts. And they usually say like, and they always give like an example. They always give Tyler, the creator, as an example. It's like, you see, he always releases his projects, and even a year, 2 years later, he's still promoting the same project. And as a creative, it's kind of hard, because once you put so much energy into creating the thing, and then when it comes to releasing it gets very, very tiring. This is why capitalism has ruined art, and just has ruined the whole creative process behind making music. Because I feel like, for me personally, the whole idea of rollouts and etc, it's steeped realistically in marketing and getting audiences to buy into what you have to sell. So I understand why artists struggle with rollouts and stuff like that. I say all this to say it was hard for me personally to roll out IRL because I just wasn't on the ground. So anything I could do would have to be online. And it's very hard because the project is a year old now, but realistically, I should still be pushing it now that I'm back home. And I guess like any opportunity I have to do so, I will. But I wouldn't say that there's a concerted plan to do IRL rolling out, post rollout activities. So. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could. And also, like, rollouts are very, very capital intensive. Well, they don't have to be. They're either very, very creative, or you just have to have a whole bunch of resources. Yeah, if you're creative, you can make a pre-rollout and a pro-rollout and a post-rollout, creatively. But post-rollout activities could include releasing music videos after the fact. That's something you need to invest money in. It could include doing meet and greets with people. It could include doing like interviews and stuff, just to keep the life of the project going. We'll talk about lives of projects later on in the podcast. I mean, to be honest, a rollout is anything you want it to be. Like as long as you come up with things that are in theme with your project. Like if your project is called I Love Jets, then your post rollout it'll be determined by what your project is about. Really.
Even on that, I was just thinking, because in terms of, and it's been around for a while, but then in the age of like TikTok and Instagram Reels and just short video content and incorporating that into rollouts, post rollouts often have to be, or these days they're like, because back then people would look they'll release the project, and then whatever song picks up, that's the direction they'll go in. But these days, people release the project or a song, and then see, because of TikTok has created a new avenue for people doing content specifically with a section of your music. It was harder to do back then because there was not like quick video consumption. So now what post rollouts have also now become doing specific content for a specific like part of the song. Like the artist will lean into it in terms of looking at analytics and what's doing well and what part of the song is doing well. Then they figure that out, and then they now use that to push the music even more. And so it's just an interesting new way that people have teamed up. It's always been there, but then back then it wasn't content.
And so it's like also driven by like things like TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, like what catches is what the big or the labels or whoever is managing the music is going to go with, right?
Yeah.
Like recently we had to not endure, but like we've gone through like when I don't know if you guys listen to like someone like SD Kid, and there was this whole, oh my God, he looks like Timothy Chalamet. And now that's something that comes out of somebody releasing music, and it's so rogue and it's just so random.
Yeah.
But then that becomes the main
focus.
thing that you end up rolling out. Yeah, and that becomes like the main thing that you market, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to just wait on the universe to kind of determine, okay, this is what people like. You go with it. And sometimes it doesn't necessarily have to be positive.
True.
Do you believe in the fact that, or the statement that all publicity is good publicity?
All publicity is good publicity. Publicity is cheap. Publicity is cheap, but then what it does to your career ends up being showing the real cost, right? Because you could use a negative thing that has happened to you or manufacture a negative thing, as it is mostly. But then how does that affect? It's a gamble. It's a gamble that artists need to do, because then how does that affect your current fan base? How does that affect the world that you've built currently, and does it make it better, or are you now introducing other elements and people who are? It's a big gamble.
Because like in other markets, like you know how the term Nepo baby is it's usually such a negative thing.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to be a Nepo baby, because everybody then assumes that you just go through life with a silver spoon and everything is handed to you,
Blank
right?
check.
So whenever anybody uses that term, like on social media, it's meant to bring you down. But then these kids in Nigeria who like have been popping off, they've just been going with it. Like they've almost made the term Nepo baby it's not positive still, but they're going with it, like just the Nepo music, Nepo baby things, like it's been
apologist.
trending on social. I'm not a Nepo apologist. I'm not a Nepologist, bro. But like, you know what I mean? Like, so these are just the fringe things that come with the music industry.
Yeah.
It's like you just latch onto. So sometimes it could be positive, sometimes it could be negative. It's all about how do you handle that, and how do you like market what comes out of what do people want to talk about? If that's what they want to talk about, then you lean into it.
Yeah.
But you see, that's where it becomes tough, because some people are brilliant at marketing and they'll just go with the flow. Other people are more like, no, artistic. They're more protective of their art. Exactly. And so like once certain lines start to like be or certain lines are breached, they're like, no, I'm not leaning into that. I'm not doing that. And sometimes that's why the music doesn't go as far.
It's almost like especially with just social media and how microwave it is. Music is not the goal anymore, and so like back then people would like pick songs to market and pick songs to push, but then now all we're waiting for is what do the people find interesting that they want to keep consuming over and over and over, and that's what they push. So the focus has left the music, and it's now more on what the music makes people feel at the moment, and it's just like a quick thing, which is interesting. But
it's sad.
It is sad for artists like you, but then the labels absolutely love it because they do less work.
Listen, bro, like, do you ever scroll on TikTok and then it's always a white British guy? They're always British. I don't know why, but they're always British. And then he's going to be bald or something, and then he's going to look and then he's going to look intensely at the camera and be like, "This is what you need to do to make your music pop in 2026."
No. Whenever anyone starts saying this is what it's a swipe up automatically. I'm so sorry. Don't tell me what everyone is telling everyone what to do these days. Leave me alone, kindly.
But this is the thing I'm trying to say. Yes, leave me alone. But they always talk about how, like, you need to be posting 5 times a day, and this is how. And these are the 5 hooks
a successful artist needs to put.
My God!
And this is how you catch people's attention in the first second. Leave me alone.
This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do.
You're doing it wrong.
Create five fan pages. Yes, I know. As an artist, create your own 5 fan pages and then post. It sounds crazy, but believe me, it works. Create 5 fan pages and post 2 posts every day about your music from those fan pages, because due to psychology, people are more likely
and do you know what really pisses me off? They'll do the dumb hook, and then right before, now look, we sound like we're hating. Right before then, and don't forget to follow and subscribe. They just like to sneak that one in there, and then they come back after and say, "This is the 5 things you need to do." Like, no, there's no one formula. Like, all of these guys is just content. They're turning education into content, which is fascinating. And honestly,
the thing I really hate is. People on social media, they always give examples of things that worked for people, but these examples are really niche and only work for those people. Like people will be like, okay, this is why Pink Panthers blew up, and then they'll give like the examples and you'll do research, but that shit only will. Do you know why it'll only ever work for Pink Panthers? Because something like what she had going for her at the time, it was very circumstantial. TikTok was just becoming a thing again after it had been rebranded from Musical.ly. People weren't using TikTok as much.
She said that as,
you try and be
said
faceless.
That as well in interviews.
Try and be. Yeah, exactly. You try and be a faceless creator on TikTok today and see if that works.
TikTok has moved so far from that. So far.
And so I hate it when music professionals come and start telling you, "Oh, this is what you need to do based on this artist." Bro, no, because that's worked for them and it's just not going to work for you. Like, sure, there's certain things. Like, if somebody tells you post consistently or whatever, like, that's cool because it's very broad, and that's just good advice in general. Shout out to the 3 C's. But
shouting out the 3 C's in the first 20 minutes or whatever is ridiculous. But okay, go off.
We used to be a serious country. Go man.
Man.
But like when you start giving people specific things that they need to do, it just becomes
making it
so
seem
overwhelming.
Like,
anyway,
like, and it's also a little bit disingenuous because. Like you're saying, not every artist is going to do that and achieve and get success, even though you use the same formula. Just because the world surrounding your music and who you are as an artist is completely different. So it might work for Pink Panthers amazingly, and then this next artist who might even make similar music as her, but just presents herself in a slightly different way, or looks different, or has different music. It won't work exactly the same for that person, and so it's.
If all these things could be copy pasted, all the artists in Maven Records would be stars. But no, I woke up to Crayon beefing with Rema.
Crayon is beefing with Rema, and there's trouble in paradise, man.
I'm just like, what's happening, man? So anyway. Speaking of labels and Maven and UMG, do you wanna? I heard that there was some things that happened over the past few days.
But people on Instagram would know what's going on. Why are you trying to spruce it up? I heard things are going on. Things indeed were going on. UMG swooped down like an eagle. They've been in the sky circling the Kenyan industry scene, and they spotted their I was going to say pray, but that's not what happened.
Actually, that's actually a very good descriptor. That's actually even better than anything else that you're about to say.
No. Those are Afam's and Afam's views only. So they spotted a couple of new ventures, new directions they want to go in. So they swooped up. The first one, what do we start with? The independent artist or the whole label? Let's go. Let's start with Kaka Empire. They swooped down and got them a good piece of Kaka Empire. Agreed to, I guess, partner with them, have them on, sign them, whatever word. Those words these days, honestly, don't really, it's all blood. It's all blood. But then, yeah, they've partnered with King Kaka and his partner, and Kaka Empire, as well as the different artists that they have on there, which is an interesting, I don't know in what...
Do you want me to read I got a press release.
Yeah.
So I could read that to give us like some context.
Yeah, wait, just before that. Just before that. No, I just wanted to name that. The artists under King Kaka and Kaka Empire, I guess. Femi One is there. Kanambo did, and a few artists. That's what it's a little blurred how many artists they actually have, and I think they also have like non-artists and entertainers as part of the roster. So those are all involved in sort of what they've picked up. But
yeah. So here we go. They say, as the label, Kaka Empire Music Label has entered into a strategic partnership with UME, or Universal Music Group East Africa, marking a new phase in their collaboration. As the label behind one of Kenya's most influential artists, Kaka Empire has played a defining role in shaping contemporary East African music. Through this partnership, the label will work alongside UME and their infrastructure and industry expertise to support upcoming releases while preserving the creative direction that has defined King Kaka's career. Then they talk about King Kaka's journey, and then they say the partnership reflects a shared commitment to strengthening the presence and continued growth of East African music by combining Kaka Empire's creative leadership with Universal's distribution network and strategic support. The collaboration aims to further elevate the region's sound and connect it with a broader audiences. So do you think this is more of a distribution deal for his label and his artists and himself, I guess?
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, I don't know what's cooking, but then maybe it looks... there has been an emphasis in the recent... couple of years, an emphasis on just distribution, and you're seeing artists like when you talk to artists in their own circles and like you meet them out on the street and at performances, like a lot of artists are mentioning distribution a lot now, and it seems to be a thing. I don't know whether it's just popular to talk about distribution at this point, or it's something that artists are genuinely aware of and trying to shore up in terms of their business. So there has been a more of a push for distribution. I don't think
Why do you think that is?
It's partly streaming, isn't it? It's partly streaming. I think with the DIY streaming, just artists sometimes would feel like they're a little bit above the distro kids and the TuneCores, and they want something a lot better in terms of like a sure distribution house to take care of them, but not necessarily be completely under the control of the label, which would happen if you like actually sign a deal for money. So I think that's partly. I think streaming has brought on a new feelings towards the independent. As streaming has progressed, it's brought a new feelings towards the independent distributors. And I think artists are just really looking for more. And I think signing a distribution deal is the new signing a record label deal, honestly, because no one wants to sign a label deal.
It really is. Because if you synthesize what record labels do in 2026, the real value that they bring to a lot of artists is really or really lies in distribution. Because back in the day, a label would help you actually create the music. You know, when A&R was really, really important, they'd be able to bring in all these producers and help you with your, you know, the artistic direction. Yeah. Then they also used to have a huge hand in your branding and how they'll position you and like all that type of stuff. But then in today's age, people like the technicalities behind creating music have been eased such that many people create the product on their own. Look at me calling music the product. I sound like
no,
like
but I already knew you're cooked.
Sound like
I already knew you're cooked, man. I've seen you outside and in some of these music labels things with your buttoned-up T-shirt. I already know you're part of them. You're part of them.
I sound like that McDonald's CEO calling a burger a product.
Yeah. Trying to be relatable. Crazy.
That's not even relatable. That's so detached.
Actually, yes.
So yes, the artists are able to create the music on their own, so they don't really need the A&Rs. Then again, the artists are able to brand themselves and market themselves on platforms like TikTok, right? So it's like, but what they don't have is the connection.
Yeah, the distribution channels.
Because, distribution, like as it's defined, is so easy to do independently. What people don't have is those connections with the streaming platforms and just all the mechanisms in the industry that make streaming really, really successful for artists. And so that's where the real value lies, because the industry really safeguards. If you ask a lot of people in their industries, who's the person who is in charge of playlisting for this specific playlist? Nobody knows.
No one.
People
they
will
know. They don't want to say it.
You have to do
absolutely.
That information is really safeguarded
because it's valuable.
Even in Kenya, there was a time, bro. There was a time I was like, who does the new Music Friday and just all the curation for playlists in our country? And it used to be such a mystery. Like, I was like, bro, who's the person who's doing this stuff? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that information is so safeguarded because that's where the real value is. Because once you're on these playlists, boom, you're making money. And Spotify actually released a whole thing about how there's 80 people made over $10 million on Spotify in 2025. Anyway, but it's all because of it starts because of the connections that the labels have, and the fact that you can get playlisted, and that's where
I also think there's just on that point, I think there's value in the labels keeping all of that shrouded in mystery, even though we are going through an age where there's not much mystery about anything. I mean, if you see some of the things that governmental agencies and other people post these days, like, okay, like there's really no there's no separation anymore. But some of the you'd be shocked to find that, and I was thinking about this earlier, some of the things that these bigger institutions and entities that handle creativity and music, and even film to some extent, they are not like the most far off things. Like you'd be shocked how many bigger labels just have like quiet deals with like a DistroKid or a TuneCore to actually put their music, and they're actually using this. They just have real channels to real people that they can pick up the phone and call and say, hey, this is not working or this has not been set up right, and they can do that. We of course have to go through an app or a website or something like that, but then you'd be shocked how many of them are still using the same channels.
And I feel like that's why the music industry has been downsizing and letting so many people go. It's because they don't need so many people to do some of these things. Yeah. And I feel like the more information that gets availed to the public, or rather the less shrouded in mystery the music industry gets, the less things that they can leverage as value adds for when you're signing to a label. And that's why distribution is becoming one of the, like, really, it's like the last frontier of things that, because you can't, like, you physically cannot distribute unless you're using an aggregator or something. Like you can't you can't upload your music directly to Spotify. You know what I mean?
Aggregator,
without using one of these platforms, etc. So these are some of the things that you have to rely on these entities for. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of something else. Well, also like when you're talking about like in the big time, like getting spots on some of these big media platforms and having the connections to do so, those are also things that they also have and keep in the tuck. You know what I mean? Like when you suddenly see oh, Burna Boy is releasing a project, and then all of a sudden you're seeing him on Jimmy Fallon and this and that and that. Like those are also things that you don't necessarily need a label for that.
It's a lot harder
because you can
to get.
figure it out, but it's very hard to get those connections.
And some of those people only respond to the big dogs as well, because that helps with their status.
Exactly.
And, it pushes their show. It's everyone is trying to benefit from everything.
That's where the value lies.
Everyone is trying to eat.
Because that's where the value lies.
Yeah.
Because even if you have a platform, right, and you open it up to just anybody, right, it completely cheapens the value. I'll give you an example. If you guys listened or have watched artists on the radar, this platform, how there's so many platforms where rappers come and then it's just like a microphone. We talked about KC being on the radar when he put the Kenyan flag
on the
there.
radar.
In my opinion, yes, being on the radar, right?
Sorry.
I feel like On the Radar completely cheapened their brand because they just opened it up to everyone. Anyone can get on there. You know what I mean? So it loses
Unlike
its value.
So all these that is more curated. Not the Kenyan one.
Yo, you want to talk about colors?
That was years ago too. That was like 3 years or 2 years ago. No, I'm talking about the main colors.
Colors
or Tiny Desk. Okay, use Tiny Desk.
Yeah, because they're all exactly. Because there's such it's so sequestered. Like you have to pass so many checks and balances to get on Tiny Desk. So it makes it like all the more valuable. And these people know that, and that's what they leverage. And those are the type of things that appeal to people when they're signing to labels.
Yeah, I mean, and just bringing it back to like King Kaka and the signing. With this, of course, when you think of an artist and them signing to a label, it's easier to think about this. I think when it comes to signing an actual, like something that's operated as a label or as a collective, it gets a little bit more complicated because then you have artists underneath that label who might have distribution deals elsewhere, and you might have different agreements with them. But then I just wanted to just discuss a little bit on what that could look like in terms of, like, of course, here now we're using UME with Kaka Empire, and of course with the artists that they have under. First off, this is very timely. King Kaka is releasing a project on the 27th of March, if I'm not wrong. I think that's the date that they put out. And he's been doing like a little bit of a rollout. Like he's had a couple of he's getting into the content. Just like vlogs, peeking, which is again another popular thing, is just peeking behind the curtain.
Very fascinating. Very fascinating.
Yeah, all artists are now allowing you to peek behind the artists. There's no mystery anymore in artistry. Like that doesn't help anyone. It's just for select few. But in terms of just like what a UME or UME could offer Kaka Empire. Kaka Empire obviously have been around for a minute. But then as of March 11, them signing the deal. So I would think that Kaka Empire would still manage the creative in terms of the artists A&Ring and just figuring out how to, because they have more experience in handling local artists, handling King Kaka for a while, the different artists who have come and go from the label, Femi One and all of them. So I would think that King Kaka will handle that because they have more experience in that. But then now UMG will now figure out a way to use that. And because UMG's goal is like talking with some of them and then just looking at the overall goal, their goal seems to be, we want to take local to the world. We want to be sort of that link, the catalyst of Kenyan artists and local artists and try to make them more successful outside. So I think that they will now take what what Kaka Empire is doing, and apply some of the resources that they have, like those distribution channels that we have talked about, and those connections and everything, and try to amplify some of the artists that they have. So that would be one thing, because distribution on its own is another thing. Like they would be able to just amplify the distribution and how the music is presented to the world, with all of their connections and everything. I don't know, this is just a side point, but then do you think the multiple signings that we've seen within the Kenyan scene, and the different labels, Sony has been in there as well as UME being a major one and having signed the most, I guess. Do you think like there's a lot of money involved? Like, are they giving, how like artists are given money? Do you think this guy's actually getting like a lump sum in the beginning to create their art, or is it still a deals where it's more self-funded?
Yeah, no. I think advances are very much still a thing. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure like they're getting some money as a lump sum. Obviously, you guys all know that that's essentially just a loan that you have to pay back, and that has to be recouped. But yes, I do think, interest. Just to answer your question directly, yeah, I mean, even when Boomplay were in the scene, they were giving out a lot of money for things. And all these guys, they always give a lot of money. For me, the interesting thing that you mentioned is how the labels are moving and who they're signing, or who they're choosing to distribute. Like Sony went for Nyashinsky and helped him. I feel like it was really distributing that project. UMG or UME rather are now going for Kaka Empire, and that involves also Femi One's catalog and King Kaka's and everything, right? Here's the thing I think about when I see these things. I understand from a big business perspective, they also want to go for the security before taking risks. And I get it, right? They go for these big names because they've had multiple years of success within the scene. And if now you are distributing that catalog, for example, that back catalog, then you're assured of something, right? You're not just like shooting in the dark. So it is interesting. Would you sign King Kaka if you were like?
I feel like that's been the theme.
Oh well, no, you're not signing King Kaka. You're signing his empire that he's built.
Oh, essentially, it's King Kaka. And I think that's been a theme the past couple of weeks in this podcast in terms of just this is a conversation about being sure of what you're doing versus taking a risk, and for the future. Because in my mind, if you as a label, you focus on signing artists that are already established, and not just established, but then have had a long period of
success.
Yes, within the music
involvement
industry,
in the scene.
You're not necessarily signing that. You're not necessarily signing for the future. You're signing for the past. You're signing for the people who have already consumed that music. So your goal is to try and maybe get a similar audience to them, to try and...
But to be honest, sorry to interrupt you, but I feel like that's where the music industry is at the moment, or has been for the past 5 years. Yeah. Remember the whole boom where they were all buying back catalogs?
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like the music industry is more invested in shoring up the past and making the past catalog successful and people from the past successful, or eating from that pie. I feel like it's a very pessimistic time in the music industry in terms of what's to come in the future. I feel like the music industry doesn't see as though creations from now into the future will be as profitable as things that have already been released.
Yeah. Once they took their focus off artist development, then that value dies. And you're no longer looking to see what you can do in the future, which is the other side of that. You're signing artists for the past and just that audience, and sort of how much you can squeeze. That sounds bad, but then how much you can squeeze out of that music, versus signing someone new who could potentially who could potentially feed the house, keep the lights on for years to come. That's once they took their eyes off developing artists as labels. Once labels did that as a whole, of course, now you're going to start looking more into things like catalog and other things to assure of the money, because your investment now has to be something that's quote unquote sure, rather than something that you don't know how it's going to pan out. You don't know how it's going to work out. You have to put in the work and spend money.
And for me, I feel like, well, we don't have access to the components of the deal, but like if Universal or UME are distributing Kaka Empire's past catalog now, if they're now distributing that stuff, then that'll give me an answer as to what this is. If they're only invested in distributing his future works, then that's a bit interesting, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
But that would be a little bit interesting. But listen, they're invested in the future. I mean, they signed Juanita.
Which is, it's the two sides of that conversation
Juanita
actually
signing
at once. So Juanita being a newer artist, she was part of the Soul Generation Press Play, the 2 editions actually. She's part of 2 editions of that, and so she's been picked up. She doesn't have too many releases under her name, but then she's had a couple of songs that have done, I guess, in terms of numbers. If we're talking about numbers, because that's all the industry cares about these days. In terms of numbers, have done pretty decently. One from the Press Play, and then the other song. What's the name of it? Everybody, Territory and Everybody doing over 500K for an independent artist is some would look at that as like a good thing. So, what do you think, man? Are you? It's just interesting watching in real time what UME values in the industry, I guess.
I mean, the only way to really judge these things, and unfortunately, this is how life works. Well, there's special people who are able to project.
Yeah.
And those people are very few and far between. For most people, for most of us, we go about life determining things based off of what we can see, based off of what we can see has been done in the past, and then we will be able to like get a gauge of what's to come. So all I can judge Universal Music East Africa from is what they have done up till now. This is a different outfit from the outfit that had Sauti Soul, right? Yeah. This outfit different. Would say they've had now Njerai, they've gotten Vic West, they may have had Kahush.
No one knows.
no one knows for sure, really. But like maybe. And then now they have the big one. Did I say Njerai? Njerai is the big one, the big fish in the label. And now they have another big fish with King Kaka or Kaka Empire.
And King Kaka.
Juanita is now in the ranks. Yeah, and King Kaka. And now Juanita is in the ranks. I'm probably missing a few other people who are in the label as well.
And that's not a bad thing, because I do realize that sometimes they'd want to keep that on the wraps. So.
Yeah. So I was going to say, I can only judge from what they've done. So from Jerai's perspective, it looks like they're building her rather well. I'm yet to see the whole ideology they have for making her not just hyper-local, but somebody who can thrive regionally. Mm-hmm. I'm yet to see the strategy behind that. But I would say, has Njerai's star risen from when she was doing things independently? If somebody asked me that question, I would say, yes, it has. So I would say UME have added value to her career. They generally
By how much, though? Because if a talented artist like her...
now you're asking the tough questions.
That's what we do here. The tough questions. It's the tough questions is what we do here.
I still have relationships to maintain, bro. Why are you asking me that? Okay. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Let me do this. Let me remove it from Jai, because I think it's a broader point, right? Because you could look at a label and say, okay, they're doing really well for this artist. But then if an artist like Njerai, for example, who is already on a trajectory and she was going up, she was getting more fans and stuff, could she have gotten here just off momentum?
By herself.
Right. So that's kind of hard to gauge sometimes.
I mean, you look at artists like Zaituni. For me, I feel like their fates are intertwined in the sense that they've started blowing up at a similar time. And I feel like they're good case studies to compare against each other. I feel like Zaituni is able to, she's not able to do as much as Njerai though.
Okay.
In the sense that she can't output as many dope like music videos and have
the
all
financial
the amazing
aspect and
like
the resources
bells and whistles
is limited.
Or fly to Mombasa to do a show like frequently, or even put together a tour in like Australia, like because that's what Njerai is going to be doing.
It's not impossible. I mean? It's just harder.
It's not impossible, but it is a bit more difficult. Let's just say, but it's doable. It's doable. So I would say that yes, Njerai has benefited from the machine, but if you look at the other artists in UME, I'm not so convinced. You know, you see the way they've been handled, and it's just a bit like, okay, like Kim Life, for example. I like a year on from him being signed to UME, I don't see what benefit he's really gotten. Now, maybe they've been working and they have a catalog and they have a plan. I don't know. But from what I can see, and that's what I can judge from, I haven't seen like too much movement there.
Signings,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Vic West already had access to all the artists he already works with.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what the benefits he's also receiving from that. Like, because for me, my perspective is he would be opened up to working with so many artists under the UMG, like umbrella. UMG South Africa, or their presence in Nigeria. For me, that I thought that's what was going to happen. You know what I mean? I personally haven't seen it, but I might be wrong. Maybe it's happening and I just haven't seen it. So, so when it comes to Juanita, I don't know.
It's yet to be seen. Time will tell.
If that's the first thing I would say you should do. I don't know if that's the first thing. And she's only released such few songs and had like not too much presence in the industry. I feel like all this is very, oh my God, this is going to sound like hate, but I feel
we say
like
that like at least once every pod. every episode.
I feel like the threshold towards getting signed in Kenya is very, very low.
Ooh, okay.
Now, this isn't a reflection on Juanita and her career. No. It's just I feel like Juanita, if I was in her team, right, I feel like we should be doing a little bit more to build on my independent career before I make such a huge step.
Okay.
Right? Now, if labels are just signing like artists like just like that, you know what I mean? The danger is a lot of people get sucked in to the machine and get lost within it. And then you hear 5 years later, oh my God, like all these horror stories from labels, right? Now, yes, I know we are also trying to we're trying to be pro the labels investing in more risky
artists
propositions in terms of artists. But also the double-edged sword is like, well, I think I'm just feeling empathy towards the artist, I guess. Because I'm just like, bro, I don't know. I just based off of what I'm seeing from the output from these labels, I can't guarantee that this is necessarily a good move. But then again, like you said, time will tell. But then, you know what I mean?
There's a distinct type of motion, and it doesn't happen for everyone or all the time, but then there's a distinct type of motion that artists just get and it sustains is present for the next like 2 years, 3 years in their careers when they like the moment they sign to a label. And I don't know if we've seen some elements of that. Of course, these artists have almost all of them have dropped like projects and singles, but it's almost like that has been it for the most part. And so you almost leave because again, the expectation is high when it just comes to partnering with a label, and even the fans of the artist are like, all right, cool, you've partnered, or it's about to be to the moon. We're about to see levels that we have hoped for that artist that they haven't achieved yet. And then when they sign to the label and it's just almost more or less the same thing, it can be a little bit disappointing for the artist fans, especially, and even the artists. I think the artists are also aware of that. But then now you signed a deal and it's legal, and what do you do about that? So it's not something you can just hop in and hop off.
The last thing I'm going to say is only sign to a label from a point of leverage. Like, I think why Njerai's dealings with UME have been somewhat successful from what we can observe is because she signed relatively soon after Akisioni was a hit, and she had leverage over that. Now, if you sign to a label where it genuinely seems like they're giving you more value than you're giving them, then you're fucked.
That's almost always a bad idea.
Then you're fucked. Then you're really fucked, because like then that opens up the door for them to take advantage of you, like in so many different ways. So if you do, like, essentially what I'm saying is, before even signing to a label, you need to have enough motion. You already have to have like some self-generated motion where you're not just going into it with nothing. I'm not saying Juanita doesn't have anything going for her. It's just that the hits that she had come from like 3 years ago or stuff like that. You know what I mean? So then it becomes a bit iffy, but it is what it is. Do you want to talk about the music?
Let's see. I mean, it's just hopefully it's just observing. Let's see how it goes. Let's see what they do with it. King Kaka's project, called the Year of the Pen, I think is the name of the project, is coming out. So again, with the rollouts and everything, we'll see, compared to what he's done. Of course, it's a short time, but then we'll see like what they're able to add to him, and even to Juanita, what they're able to add to her career, and again also gauge. I just feel like UME is still on a trial period with a lot of like, especially some music enthusiasts. Like they're still on a trial period, still need to prove themselves. But hey, we'll see. Let's see. Yeah. Let's get into music.
Alrighty. Let me start. Shout out to everybody who decided to release music this week. As always, you guys have given us stuff to entertain ourselves with over the weekend. So the first song that I listened to was Nyongi by by Matata and Marioo. It's very Matata. I feel like they've really hacked what works for them. This is the sound, this is the structure their songs are going to have, and this is how the hooks are going to feel. But for me, I don't blame them. I mean, you always have to go with what works. At some point, maybe try color outside of the lines a little bit. But then also, you also have to feed the beast and feed what the fans are gravitating to. So
I do understand. I do understand your point. Just because the other thing I'm thinking about is sometimes some of these songs could have all been written around the same period, and
that's also true.
And they
all end up coming up at different times.
So sometimes that could be a thing where it's just that was the period they were in, and they wrote a whole bunch of songs, and then now they're just refining them and releasing them over time. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. I listened to Surrender by Mudoka, August 4th, and Mamba. Shout out to them. I listened to My Best Tattoo by Flyer. I respect Flyer because he creates the world he wants to live in. And I say that to say he's really inspired by the sound that he's inspired by, and he's decided to really fuse that with Kenyan sounds and Kenyan ideas, and it's dope. It's dope that he's bringing like his influences and mixing them with Kenyan music, and now creating a genuine feel to like his music that's very unique to him. I listened to Calypso by Diana Codes. Actually watched the video.
She released music. I'm not
gonna lie.
When she releases any music.
I know she's always, but you have to be.
You should be tapped in. I'm not tapped in.
If you follow, guy, yeah, okay, fine. So Diana Cause, I mean, so in the video, but this week was a week of male video vixens. So Andrew Kibe is a video vixen in that video.
That's not the name I expected to come out of your mouth when you said that. Now I need to go watch that. What's he doing there?
Well,
what's he doing on there?
I don't know what he's doing there.
That's ridiculous.
But it was so awkward. They showed like a behind the scenes thing of how they were doing the scene, and I was like, this is just
cringe.
Cringe. It's just cringe.
It's detached. And it's removed from any sort of aura.
It's not. Diana Cods is great at making music, but she's done some really questionable things. Like the time she posted and deleted on her story about Tutam. I was like, bro, I don't know what you're doing. And people, because she posted and deleted, it sounds like a myth. But I was there, I saw her do it. And I saw her delete that thing. And I saw her post afterwards that it was a joke. But like it wasn't. And sometimes I really question her decision making, but shout out to Diana Cods.
Shout out at the end of that. On brand for the 30%
I know, that's
podcast.
Crazy. But that's the beauty about podcasting. You can shit on something like for 5 minutes and then say, shout out to you.
That's anyone's opinion. Yeah, you can say whatever you want. That's why podcasting is really
Or you can be like, no. My best thing about podcasting is you'd be like, but you know what? I could be wrong.
Yeah. Always the benefit of a doubt. And put yourself in the line of fire so that it seems like all of this just to hate. Anyway.
No, because when you say, but I could be wrong, it's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't hate you for your opinion. It's just, it's our saving grace, honestly. If not, podcast will last 5 episodes.
I also watched, so I know this song came out last week, but I watched the music video for Ingiandani by Njerai. I was saying it's the week of male video vixens.
Who else was in there?
Just sat there like, I don't know. I think it's the fake A$AP Rocky. I don't know who it is. I feel like I've seen his face on TikTok, but like bro was just there aura farming the whole time. But anyway, shout out to Njerai. I would say the other songs I listen to would be Maovu by Anea. Shout out to Anea. She seems like she's relatively new and really spreading her wings. So it's good to see a new artist, develop before your eyes. She's very raw. I'm gonna say what I think. I really think she's really raw. But then I see a lot of potential there. So shout out to her, like for real. And then the last song I'm gonna say is actually an Afro house song. Like, listen, look at the growth. Inyakanye by Ekwi, K-Rop, and Andia. Shout out to Andia, always. Gabi. Very, very Afro housey. But I really, really love the vocals. They're very, very ethereal. The way they did the reverbs and the delays and just like everything, it just made it feel like an experience. Like you need to be on some mind. What did you call them? Some, not hallucinogens, like
that's not what you call them. I hope that's not what you call them. Trips. I don't know now. I don't even want to go with you to where you're going.
It's music that you need to listen to while you're at a festival and you partake in festival things. Anyway, Sam, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm leaving that quickly. Just a few songs. Mura and Judilele teamed up for another one.
You think you're funny. That's a joke that I should be making.
I don't think in puns like you. It literally just hit me. The song is called Another One, and then they teamed up for another one, and they obviously have. I see what you're doing. Oh no, Afam is rubbing off on me. Oh. They did team up for another one. Sorry about that. They teamed up for another one. Really cool, interesting. I'm always here for some Mura production, and that was interesting. B the artist has actually just been all around promoting his song Nervous, featuring Iwaya Tajiri. I think it's produced by August 4, who is really starting to be on quite a few things. I think he's starting to work with a lot more artists now. So that's interesting to see. But anyways, they teamed up for Nervous. That was an interesting listen. Game Night by Bleak Heaven and Deadbeat. Some hip hop. Maneno Machache by Basic City and Mrumbi. They gave us 3 new joints on that. If you're a big fan of Mrumbi's music, go check that out. Danda by...
Oh yeah, and happy birthday to him. I think the release was tied to his birthday.
Yeah. I see the name too, Karibu 30.
So shout out to him.
Third floor. The third floor.
Oh, happy birthday to him. I need to stop saying shout out.
Shout out is the default now. For anything, man. Even birthdays, we'll stop saying happy birthday. Now it's just shout out to you. Anyway, it's where we are in the world, honestly. It is what it is. Danda by DJ Produluigi and Cool Coded. Again, some more production from DJ Produluigi. I also listened to Steph Capella and Size Yangu, who did try to use the beef to sort of promote some of the stuff he's doing, which you can never complain at when an artist does that. So, yeah, shout out to Steph, man. Still releasing. Steph has been around for a while and he's still releasing music, and I like to see it. I do like to see it now, just to see a lot more of the elevation and progress, and seeing just how far he can take the music thing if he wants to. But yeah, apart from that, I think this week we are going to Case Mbaya, a song by Khaligraph Jones and Johnny Vigeti, which I found out is, I did not know this was going on, but then both of them were sort of beefing. Johnny Vigeti being part of Kalamashaka, an old, you know who K Shaka is. I don't need to say it, but then a legendary staple in the Kenyan music industry. Some of the people who really popularized the sport of hip hop, and just taking it away from the niche pocket and making Kenyan hip hop in itself, sharing and Swahili raps, more of a household thing. So they were beefing, and it's funny because they were beefing. From what I saw, they were beefing because Johnny Vigeti was talking about just the transition of the music industry from sort of what they were doing, and back then things not being more established, and it's the age-old discussion of, we had it with the mumble rap. I mean, we had that same beef with like some of the mumble rappers, like a J. Cole beefing with, who was it? Was it Lil Pump? Yeah, and that sort of that kind of thing. So it was almost similarly, from my observation, similar to that kind of thing, where he's saying like Khaligraph Jones, and I think he had mentioned another rapper, like their music being like the faces of hip hop. Like their music is very, it's not as dense. It doesn't say much compared to what they were doing, which you're always going to have in every single generation. That's just the nature of it. So they were beefing for a while, and this song, I guess, is them coming together, which is good to see. A very quiet beef squashed. So they did release Case Mbaya. It's hip hop. It's good. Some good rapping on there. I like the beat as well. It's very engaging. So this week we are going to Khaligraph Jones and Johnny Vigeti teaming up for the song Case Mbaya.
Talking raw bars strictly. All star sissy. Come lost bro up on a but you are compass fitty. Self-made nigga bro, I don't trust Kiki. Since Johnny Jones top at my porn stars quickie.
Boge attack team, yani ni combat fitty. Usual suspect mekuja kukonka jiji. Ni raw bars hizi. If you don't trust sissy, tunajua nyinyi ndo huwa mnabonga shit. DJ shit yanafaa kuwapea content ideas. Flame na copy paste ni kadoba za conscience na skia. Watani blackball, that is nonsense my dear. This a little combination that is gone end careers. Tuna work hard manze man ndio tuishi fit. Otherwise watoto wetu bravo watadishi shit. Inabidi tuna movie smart ndani ya easy street. Sije ukasau eti once minli ishi D. Dibado yo levels on both sides we keep it G. Streets up and yokole so we both die CBD. Afadhali ujipesh guli. Tafadhali usinilete kiburi. Number 1 kwenye hii skuli. Hii skuli mi bully Jomini Debo. They feel it in the air kaile ngoma ya Bini Sigo. Ni Vigeti Khaligraph Mrs. Leki Canibus. Nimekuja tu kulock ready kami mras. Safi bass Afam ninja cause they been rapping trash. Candy buzz mali nimetoka you fall like party pass. Unapenda stories za jaba lakini wapi guts. Unakubaliaje kwa mwere na uko 30 plus. Anyway yote ni mzuka brother. Mungu azidi tu kutupa my friend. Tukiepuka ma snakes wamalizia matakuta baden. Issue si kutafutana, issue kutafuta bamze.
Chuom 32 huko interior silost. Weno mama zako unangoja musiri ya kupost. Kaka songo vile napita na hizo kura mtrace. Na niko na representative wa Mangandula msee.
Uwezi shukishia kastimu. Watu wale watakuzimia tasimu. Wanakusmailia lakini wanakusikilia kawivu. Wakijidai ma right men kukukaribia karibu.
Na wakinikaribia kuna case ni case mbaya.
Magwangi nao wamejaa ina deplace aya.
Ndo tuko joma vitu zile zina to take higher.
Basi pigia pusha kuje atu blaze kaya. Yeah, Johnny Vigeti, Khaligraph ndani ya mix once again. True label. Kunta official ndani ya beats manze. Kama kawa manze. One time for your mind.
That was Johnny Vigeti and Khaligraph Jones, the OG. Well, the two OGs. One OG being more OG than the OG himself. The song is Mbaya. And it's interesting, really interesting about people just complaining about what their generation have gone through versus what the new generation is sort of going through and finds cool and finds hot in terms of music, and which is better. Like, those wars are always very, very subjective. And it's cool to see. But anyway, shout out to both of them. And shout out to you all for squashing your beef. We don't need any more beefs.
And shout out to you guys for listening to the podcast. As always, we're very thankful for your listenership. And we hope we add something to your weeks.
I'm trying to think whether I really want to add something to people's weeks. Is that what I want in life?
Bro, I'm speaking from their heart right now, and you're just laughing.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway, if this is the first time listening to the podcast, I'd like to end it with the 3 C's, essentially a mantra that I devised for myself that I thought I could share. The first C being confidence. Always be confident in your work. If you're not confident, who will be? Number 2, consistency, which I think is more important than talent. It speaks for itself. If you're consistent, you'll be way, way more successful. And number 3, craft. Always work on your craft. Spare some time to developing yourself and learning something new, even if it's only 5 minutes in the day. Sam, what are you going to do with the rest of your day on this fine Wednesday?
It's okay. I won't break the third wall, or the fourth wall rather.
You already have
that's flagrant from you. Don't do that again. I don't know what I'm doing. I have a life to get to. Not like this is not my life.
It's just occurred to me. What's the first, second, and third walls? What are they?
I don't think they're actual first, second, and third walls. I think fourth wall is just a generic term that is used by media for that specific, because there's no degree.
No, it has to come from somewhere.
I need to do some research, but then it doesn't feel like, is there a degree of fourth wall is essentially breaking production and opening up the production to the behind the scenes. And now people now do that in front of the camera or in front of microphones and whatnot. Are there degrees to that? I don't know. Maybe there are. That's actually really fascinating. But anyways, that's something else. Maybe that's what I'll spend my Wednesday afternoon doing, is researching on
I think we'll spend our Wednesdays
researching on the different degrees of walls.
I've never thought about it. Bro, let me tell you, there's so many things we say and do in life where we just don't think about it. We just say things and we just accept it as the norm. Like, it just occurred to me that I have no idea what a first, second, and third wall would look like. Anyway, guys, sorry for inundating you with random thoughts about things in the English language. Enjoy the rest of your weeks or the rest of your Wednesday if you're listening to this on a Wednesday. And if you're listening to this 10 years from now, I'd like to say, listen, I know you're in the future, but Afam from the past wants to tell you that I'm glad you made this decision to look at
from
this.
the past. Hey, yo. The more we talk after the
Yes.
at the outro, the more off the rails
The
it
more
goes.
crazy they
Just let's wrap it up, man.
Wait, listen. To the person
Afam
who's listening
from
to
the
this 10
past.
years from now, I just want to say, thank you for spending your time looking at what we've cataloged about the Kenyan music industry. Hopefully this gives you an idea of what was going on at this time, and hopefully that means something. With those words, we will catch you guys on
Afam
episode
from the past.
174.
Catch you guys later, man.